Did you know that it was going to be like this, or did you say you were expecting it to be different? Is that what you just said? Or?
No, I just said I saw Sister Elizabeth.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Hi, people.
And everyone, I'm going to be snapping pictures, so don't mind me, because I may be using. Take my good side off. Oh my goodness.
Okay. I'm going to put the slides up in a minute. My name is Al Spiegel. I've been an adjunct at St. Peter since 2011. I'll share more about me, but I've been involved in doing online and distance learning since 2005. So, I've been around for a while. In the day, I work at Bergen Catholic. That's where I am right now, up in Oradell, in the mountains of Bergen County. And I'm always glad to do this kind of stuff, especially because we could do it in a way that we don't all have to be in the same room to talk about this kind of stuff. So I am going to throw up my screen. Let's see. We want to show the whole thing. Screen one. I have two monitors, so let's do screen one. You should be able to see my screen now. It looks kind of funky, but you should. That looks good. You can see my screen?
I see it.
Okay.
Okay, not on the video call, you can't. Okay, now you can. Good.
Good?
Yep.
You should see everybody's got my title slide. It's that's much better than looking at me for the next 45 minutes. So, all right.
Yeah, but don't be so hard on yourself.
Thanks. Oh, well, no, trust me, I'm an only child, so it's fine. I got no problems with self-esteem. So if you're looking for today's presentation, I sent everybody the PDF slides. If you want to QR it now, there's the QR code for the PDF version. And then once we're done, we are streaming on YouTube, and within a couple of minutes of us finishing, it'll be available for replay on my YouTube channel. So,
what I'll do with this is I'll take the YouTube, the link as well as your presentation, and I'll put it on the distance learning intranet site.
Okay. Okay. All right. So just for those of you that are, there's not a lot of us, so it doesn't matter. But just so you know, if it's helpful, if you're not speaking, to mute your audio, just because we get, I know every semester when I do this, there's always somebody with like a smoke detector battery that's running low. So I get the beep or I get something in the background. So it's helpful if you can mute your audio, but there's not too many of us, so it's not a big deal. Generally, when I'm doing this with a group of 12 or 15 people, it gets a little bit noisy. But those are just the ways you could turn off your video and your audio if you need to. And if you're running on the iPad, same thing. You can mute your audio, turn off your video if need be. Okay. So as I said, I've been doing this since 2005. I also teach at Iona College in New Rochelle. So I've been doing graduate stuff, graduate online and hybrid in educational technology and programming, information systems, and now at St. Peter's teacher prep and school administration. At Bergen Catholic, I've been the virtual high school site coordinator since 2007. So this year we've got about 25 kids that take either online classes through virtual high school, or they're taking online classes through EduSphere. So we see some success with that, where it's something different we can offer our students. They can't take, we don't offer AP Physics here, but some are taking AP Physics online. Some are taking AP Psychology. Some are taking AP Italian. So some of the stuff that we can't offer because we don't have enough students to generate a full class here, we could do that online. So I keep an eye on those kids and make sure they're keeping up with their work. So some of the things that I wrestle with, and this is going to be stuff that I think, as we're going through the entire presentation, it's just something to think about. And through my experience at St. Peter's, I get kids in my class or graduate students in my class that it's their first time at St. Peter's. This is their first class they've ever taken as a graduate student at St. Peter's. Compounded to that, it's their first online experience. Now I've got a student who's never been at St. Peter's before, online, and in the School of Education, they also might be a career changer. So they're potentially new to the teaching field. So I've got all these different things to consider, especially that I'm never going to see them in person. Okay. So one of the things, and really two of the things that I think are things we really need to wrestle with and get our heads around, is how do we as universities support students that are enrolled in online courses. And what does that mean? What kind of support do we offer them, whether it's training, before, during, and potentially after the class? What do we do for them? And potentially, how do we formalize that? And also, how do we enroll, how do we support those same students who have special needs? And maybe I'm sensitive. My youngest son has a hearing delay, so I think I'm sensitive to everybody who learns differently. And how do we support those people that learn differently? And how can their online experience be just as successful as those people that don't have that particular delay? So just to start with a couple of things about what I've seen now. I've been doing web exclusively since January, so I haven't set foot on the Jersey City campus since sometime before Christmas. I found that teaching online is just not posting everything on Blackboard. It's a lot of design, and people say, "Oh, that's great. You don't have to drive to Jersey City. That you're saving all this time and everything." It's a lot of prep work, a lot of prep work, which it's not a bad thing. But it's not like I can, all right, let me prep for this week for a 3-hour, 2.5 hour class, and I'll go and deliver that. Then I'll worry about next week, in a couple of days. I really have to plot out everything, beforehand. Because I'm the type that, on the first day, you're going to see everything so you know what's expected of you. So there's no surprises. I found that office hours are all the time. It's not where I could say, oh, I'm available to answer emails, on Monday night from 6 to 8. It's all the time. And it's anywhere. Over the summer, I was in Wyoming, and I was fielding emails during, class time. I had my computer with me. I'll FaceTime or Skype with students as necessary if they want to, talk to me face to face. Sometimes interesting, actually, to answer questions where I might have to screenshot or demonstrate or make a movie or something so they understand, especially if there's a technical question, and that's where I go back to my original question about support. How do we support these students? I've had to change the way. It's not just an answer, oh, try this. I might have to, screenshot and with an arrow, and here's where you need to click, or here's what you have to do. And I think a big thing that I've always been willing to accept student feedback, but from an online standpoint, it's even more important because I might think I'm doing something that's wonderful, and you find out that the students don't like it. So I think that's important, that you're really, I tell my graduate students all the time, I'm a big boy. I can handle you telling me something that you don't like. It's okay, but that's part of the growth process for everybody. Virtual high school, when they give us some promotional materials, they give us this thing about who's an online student. As we recruit kids to do online courses, who do we want to have? And they say, and I think I agree with this, that students that are self-directed, that are motivated, kids that are going to work on their own. They don't need someone, looking over their shoulder. Hey, did you hand in the homework today? Students that are comfortable with technology, and not that they know the inside of how a computer works, but they can get online, use a browser, and be mindful of where am I going to find my next Wi-Fi signal. Definitely good time managers and excellent writing, because so much of this is writing. And I try to make, and you'll see some things that I do. I do have some face-to-face interaction, but a lot of it's writing, and a lot of it's organization. So, how and that goes back to my question from before. How are we, is there a way we could prepare our students better, or is there some way we can make sure that we've got students that fit these characteristics? Because we don't want to set anybody up for failure. And if they're, if we know, or if the students know, that they ask themselves, wow, I am not one who is organized or self-directed, or, is this the best possible course for you? Or are we setting them up for failure from the get-go? So that's something that, I've been wrestling with in my own head for the last couple of months. I've got students learning from all over the place. I love this picture of Leah. She really was in Prague when she took this. She stayed up to like 3 a.m. And when we had an online class, I think she fell asleep during the class, but student that is living in Boston, that was moved and wanted to finish his degree. I had a student last year at the Republican National Convention who had logged in and she was out there for I think a week or so, and she was taking the course out there. So I'm curious, where's everybody today? If you want to unmute and tell me, I know the Jersey City crowd, but is to others that are joining us, Sister Elizabeth, where are you today?
I'm up in Morristown.
Okay, you're up in Morristown. Nicole? Nicole, there's two Nicoles. And
Yep, it's
where's,
not me.
Yes.
where are you, Nicole, today?
Oh, me?
Maybe? Hello?
Nicole, it's you, Nicole. It's the other Nicole.
It's other Nicole. I know if she's there, I can't hear her. You know,
Remember to unmute yourself when you're speaking.
I'm here. It keeps going in and out, the sound.
okay. Where are you today? Now I lost her again. Okay. But the whole of the point is that not everyone is physically in the same room. And I think that's the cool thing about doing this kind of stuff is that we're moving in that direction. I mean, trending, there's so many, being in K-12, there are so many teachers that are looking and hungry for this type of format because they don't want to teach all day and then go sit in class for anywhere from 2 to 4 hours at night. They're looking for this kind of format. And it's nice to see that there are people that are all over the place that otherwise couldn't potentially take part in this if they, had to be in Jersey City or, had to be in one specific location. So last spring, I saw something in a university publication somewhere about quality matters. And I talked to Nicole and she was great about getting me funding to go and take these classes. I got to tell you, each of these classes, the applying, the rubric, and the peer reviewer, they're 2 weeks long. And to say they're grueling is an understatement. They are tough. And I liked it because as I finished these courses, I'm like, wow, my class doesn't do that. And my class doesn't have that. And I came away with more of what I needed to do than anything, which was fine. I think that was a huge benefit. Their big focus is on design delivery. So one of the things that I'm working on now is self-reviewing what I have to see, where do I go from here? What's my next step in terms of how I design the course, how I deliver the course. But if you can do it, take the time, do the QM training, because I think if you're starting, if you want to transition from face-to-face to totally online or even to hybrid, this gives you a real good sense of kind of how to do it. And like I said, it was tough, because it was a lot of thought and a lot of, but it was good though. It wasn't like it was busy work. It was real good, good thought-provoking work. So definitely recommend it. So after I did the QM training, I knew that I would be on. I did 3 summer classes all online. I'm doing the one in the fall now. And I talked to Rob about creating a holding bin for me, a sandbox to work out some stuff. Because this year this semester I'm integrating a Pearson MyLab with Blackboard. So I wanted to test all that stuff out. I wanted to start laying out the course because I couldn't wait for the 3 or 4 weeks until the start of the semester, to put everything in Blackboard. Because I'm like I said, I want my student on the first time they log in to see everything, not, okay, I'm going to post this at some point or this is going to go here. I want them to see everything that there is. So to me, that's really important. So he gave me the holding bin, created a student account for me. And it's even more so, you can look as a preview user in Blackboard and that's fine, but I want to experience my course as a student. I want to log in. I want to be able to see what they see, exactly how they see it. Are you clicking too much? Is this hard to get to? Is this not labeled right? It's really important to get that student perspective. So I did that. I started the sandbox for the fall class in May, and I was building it throughout the summer. So it's kind of like my pet project. So I knew, because August comes and things get really busy at my day job, so I wanted to have this done. And really the other benefit was I forced myself to be done 2 weeks before the start of the term. Now in the fall and the spring, that's okay. But the summer students who now had 7 weeks to do a 5-week course were thrilled because I didn't, everything was still due within that 5-week period. But if you paid and you're registered, they're like, can we start? I don't see why not. So away they went and they were thrilled. The people that they said, I won't see you till the first day, that's fine. But those who weren't were absolutely thrilled that they could have a little bit of extra time, at least to go through everything. Even if they didn't do any of the assignments, at least they went through, if they never used Blackboard before, went through all the practice stuff, went through their orientation, all that kind of stuff. And then lastly, I was in contact with people at Pearson, and I think I got whoever my account rep was in between jobs because she had like a week left. But her manager was very helpful, gave me some test accounts from my lab so that I could, same thing, go on, make sure that I understood how the process was, how you're going to purchase the e-text and the MyLab access. So I think that was, that was helpful. So all that stuff was the real initial before I could actually get started. Then after the QM, I got the holding bin. I said, all right, I need to develop some type of technology orientation. Because I'm thinking, again, if you never used Blackboard, you've never been online, and potentially never been at St. Peter's, you might need to see some of the stuff up close. So I started to gather Blackboard resources, some SPU resources, Pearson resources, anything I could find. I threw into Blackboard and tried to make it as clear as possible. Okay, getting started. Start here. This is the first place you should go if you're having difficulty. And then targeted those 2 weeks, prior for, to send out the email reminders. Hey, class starts officially on this date, but if you want to look now, if you want to do any of the practice stuff to get yourself acclimated, I had that there for them. I created sample assignments for pretty much any type of assignment that I have, I created a sample for. So if you never submitted an assignment with a file to Blackboard, here's how you do it. Okay, here's a sample assignment. Just type something in a Word document, post it up, and then you get a check. It wouldn't count for a grade, but it was like a complete in Blackboard. So students can see, okay, I did it and I did it right. For my lab, I did same thing. I created I used an assignment that I wasn't going to use for a grade on my lab as a practice assignment. And this student just was this is a real answer. Just want to make sure I'm doing this right because this is the first time I've done this. So it was, fine. Didn't count it for anything. No problems. Not everybody did it. And if you didn't need to do it, there's no point in doing it. But for those that have never done it, they were more than happy to try it and make sure that they did it correctly. And I know a lot of these graduate students were eager for that feedback. Tell me if I'm doing it right or tell me if I'm doing it wrong so I can, do it right for real. The discussion boards, same thing. Some of them have never done it before. So I do a meet and greet. So it's introduce yourself to the class, tell us who you are, your degree, where you work, and you have to respond to other people. And it was pretty interesting because it was, hey, here's who I am. And I have such a wide variety of students, in the different courses that I teach. And the other nice thing was, oh, hey, I was in class with you, a semester ago. Hey, how you doing? Oh, this, that. And they formed this kind of camaraderie. It was, it's kind of like Cheers. Like everybody knows your name. And that was nice to see. And this is before they even did anything face to face. They're bantering with one another online, which was really nice. So I do all that all the sample assignments, and then I make sure that they can see like their average. How do you see your grades? I do a little bit of technology so that they're, again, by that first day, they're ready to go. They're not going to lose a week or two trying to figure out, wait, how do I get on the Blackboard? That's already done by the first night of school. And some of them, like I said, they might need the extra time, but most people are very happy to use those 2 weeks prior. So the first night of class, there really is no first night. In the spring, I said, all right, I want to meet everybody for one night and just go over everything, which was perfectly acceptable. I got I can't make it. I've got class then. I got to come late. I got to leave early. I've got another job. So I said, this is silly because I had half the class there, and the people that were asking me questions following that were the people that weren't there. So I said, all right, how do I get this across to everybody? How do I get, what they need to know to be successful in the class? So I was using Camtasia to do a couple different projects at school. And I said, you know what if I make a video? What if I make an orientation video for them covering everything? So I did that. I assembled everything that I could think of. What do you have to know about the course? How to get the book, how to get the Blackboard, how to do this and everything. I just threw it together. And I said, all right, you could either do this. It could be watch and do, like you're watching the video and then you're trying out something if you've never done it before. It could be watch it when you're convenient, because I know I have career changers and they might be riding the bus, so they can go on YouTube and watch the orientation video. You know, and like I said, it extends the term. It gives, at least gives the people that have never done this before an opportunity to kind of become familiar with it before they have to hand in an assignment, which they were very, very content with. So this is an example of a slide that I might show them. Here's a course outline. You know, here's where my course outline is, and there's a big arrow that says, "Hey, here's where the course outline. This is where it is. This is where you'll find it. This is where the all of our information will be." And that's an important piece of the course. You know, so I want to make sure that they see it. They see a screenshot of it, and it's there. It might be above or below the orientation video. Depends on when I took the screenshot, but it's right there. You know, it's definitely going to be on the left-hand side of every page in Blackboard. Yes.
I have a question. The orientation video that you just talked about,
Mhm.
is it the same for every one of your online courses, or do you?
No, I make a different one for each one.
Okay.
Some of
I'm just
them,
wondering.
yeah, I've got a sample in 2 slides. Everything's different, like especially when I did like school admin versus ed psych. They're 2 different courses, 2 different sets of requirements. So I just made 2 of them. Some of the stuff is the same, like the course outline is in the same spot in every course I teach. So some of the slides are the same, but depending on the course, I will make a unique one for each course I teach. And now in the spring, I'll record one, probably sometime right after the new year. I'll record one, and that'll be for the for the spring semester. It's tough to put them out, 3 close to 3 in a row in the summer, but I found, and the feedback I got was pretty positive. It was helpful. So I said, I'd rather do it because some of it changes, but some of it's still the same. So it's not like it's a tremendous amount of work. It's the sitting there in a quiet place recording it. That's the key. I think more so than anything is finding the time and the quiet spot to sit for a half hour and record it. So, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, I think, in about 2 slides.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. I also put in there stuff about, if you need anything for like Google Hangouts for technical stuff. So like in this example, like I'm using the same headphones I have on now. I tell people if they're going to be online, you need to use headphones to eliminate background noise. Like I said, everybody's got a faulty smoke detector. In every course I teach, there's a beep or the dog's barking, or I know the meet and greet that I do turns into like, let's meet everybody's kids because everyone's photobombing, their parents. But here's the headphones that I have. Everything that you need to know about the class, I'm throwing in there. So let me show you just about, I think about a minute or so of the video. You should be able to see and hear this. Of course, I had to throw in a picture of me being an only child. It's, I can't not. But that was, I filmed the first part. That was Camtasia. There's 4 different pieces to that video. There's the first part was at my kitchen table, and that was like, I think it was like a Saturday night at midnight.
We couldn't see it, which was, you went completely quiet. We were all really sitting here quietly, but we did not see the video.
Oh, you didn't see the video? That's interesting. Because I saw it just fine. Okay.
We see Google Hangouts, and I see orientation video, but I don't actually, the video never.
And what do you see under orientation video? Do you see the About Me slide or the title slide?
Just the title slide.
The title slide. So you're on that monitor. Okay. Let's see. I want you to see that. So let me. Let me stop sharing for a moment, and then let me. Let's see. I want to share screen 2, because that's where eventually I think where it's going to be. present to everyone. And let's go back to Keynote. And let's play from here. Let's try it now. You can keep the sound on and just yell if you don't see it. But let's try it now.
Good, we can see it, but I can't hear.
You can't hear it,
We see you moving.
but you don't hear me.
No.
Okay. Why is that? Give me a second. Let's make sure that we can. Because I mean, I'll certainly. It's on YouTube, but if for some reason.
If you want, you could share the link with me, and I can click it in here.
Yeah. Let me do that. Let's.
Right, like if you put it right in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. Let's get rid of all this stuff.
Oh, the wonders of technology.
Yeah.
While you're doing this, you know what I'll discuss just while we're discussing
Sure.
some other things that we've done, and I'll look at Mike just because I work closely with him. We do very similar things out at the beginning, and you know me, like I have a Start Here page, and on my Start Here page, I have just one video that goes through all of my courses, that introduces the course, says who I am, what I'm doing, and then directs them to other pieces in the course. And the only reason I do it that way is so I don't have to re-record it every semester, but that's just because that's how I designed my own course that way. Mike, you want to
Sure,
tell
so
me?
I do the screencast and I do a screencast for each course.
Mhm.
Because what I actually do is I go through and navigate the entire course, all the assignments, so you can't do a generic one.
Mhm.
And I just want to make sure that they don't get confused,
Yeah.
especially if they're taking an online course for the first time. So they can actually see exactly what the course.
Do you use Screencast-O-Matic?
Yes, I still do.
And I used to use that. I used to do Screencast-O-Matic, and I would go in and it was just my voice. It was no face. It was just your voice, and you'd go through and you'd discuss each piece. And then actually, Al, I'm gonna follow your lead. After I went through Quality Matters training, I stole their idea of having the one video on the Start Here page versus what I was doing. All different ways of doing the same thing, kind of, I think.
Yeah, because all the virtual high school kids have to take an actual orientation course before they can start their own chosen elective courses.
Right.
So my thought is, is that something, because we're all doing it, should we have something as a university that we require? It's a one and done, but if you're going to take an online course with anybody, you have to go through and complete, a certain, whatever we think that is important, so that you're prepared for taking anybody's course.
I agree, absolutely. Okay, I think we see your YouTube now.
Yeah, that's you could tell me if you can actually if you can hear it. Hold on.
No, we can't.
Oh, I can hear it just fine. I can't force. So yeah, if you just want to hit the link in the chat, that'll bring up the video, and it goes. I mean, that's the whole thing, but I played about a minute of it. So.
Al, do you have your headphones on right now?
I do.
If you take your headphones off and unplug it, we might be able to hear it.
Hey, Rob, where's Nicole's office? Yeah. Somebody know? Where's her office? They just moved her. No, she's still there. Where's her office? It has, so, yeah, she's at the first floor, McDermott, next to Moment Service, old Dean's office.
She emailed me privately and said she
What
went on.
else?
Yeah, we can't hear the sound. We can't hear the sound out.
Okay, yeah, what?
You know what? Let's fast forward to the next, and then eventually I'll share this with them so we can get to the next section. Hello? So anyway, so back to teaching online. Here he is again. Yeah, I know. It's the meet and greet. Yeah, he loves Google Hangouts. You're gonna talk to anybody that does Google Hangouts, it's Al.
We have Camtasia at the library. Anyone wants to
I use it as well, so it's great for recording,
Yeah.
snippets and everything. So
You
that-
can make arrows and zoom in.
I have a hard time with a full class Google Hangout though. I'll be honest with you. He loves it. I have a hard time with getting everyone in and, it just doesn't work as well for me as it works for him.
I'm glad.
And you know what? He loved it more, and I'll speak for him, when he did a hybrid more than when you do online, because when you design your online course, I don't know, face-to-face meetings, do you use face-to-face meetings at all? with your own-
I used to, but you know what the problem was?
Getting
the
everyone
first
there.
face-
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
There we go. Okay, I was gonna say, why the hell are they all talking and I'm trying to talk? Okay. All right, let's try it again. Let me share my screen again. Where'd they all go? Oh, there you still are. Okay.
Because it's on like the.
And you can't get everyone in the same spot at the same time. When you have hybrid, you use that common
Okay.
front.
So
Whoa,
can you hear me?
yeah, but you've got some
Okay.
crazy screen going, but
Yeah. Here we go. So when they do that meet and greet, we literally it's you can meet me. I'm a real person. I can see you all. They can either ask questions, and some of them do, and some of them they're in and out in 5 minutes. Hey, I get on, I can get it. I know how to do it, because what we're gonna do, I guess we're in week 4 now. Tomorrow night, I'm doing their virtual class on classroom management, which is it's a topic that we can't do asynchronously. We have to, it's one of those things I think we have to just, talk about. And I give them 2 videos to start with. After we do they watch those ahead of time, and then we just start the discussion. We see where it goes. And it lasts about an hour, and it's the same thing. I've had students that, who knows where they are. I've had students fall asleep because all of a sudden you just see the camera just kind of goes, and it's like pointing at the floor. But it's okay. That's fine, because you're not, you're where you are and where you're comfortable or where you need to be. So that meet and greet and I'll just sit there, and if, this was the fall class, only a few were able to make it. I don't hold them accountable for it because, I have class or I have this, I have that. But again, they can watch the syndication as long as they have an opportunity to practice before they go and do their real thing. The real thing I'll generally get more people for. But now if they don't, then I'll point them to the rerun on YouTube, and they'll watch the YouTube rerun if they can't be there in person. So, and this is the same thing. This video is also on YouTube. It all goes to YouTube pretty much right after, once I end the Hangout, it's right there. So I generally don't clean these up. So.
Al, just so you know, like, we see an odd screen. Like we don't see you, or we don't see the slides anymore.
That's fine.
Now we're seeing a cascading screen.
Okay.
Now we see you, Al.
I know. So let me show you the only thing I have left. There wasn't much.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's do screen 2 again. That seemed to work best the last time.
Yep. Now we see okay.
It's going to cascade because that's a Hangout thing. But once good.
Good. What's
Okay.
next for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going home. I think I really have to. I went through the course with the QM rubric and applied it, and I'm deficient in a bunch of places. So I want to look at it, and then I want to do it again, and then potentially have someone from St. Peter's who understands QM look at it and tell me the same thing, and pick it apart, and then ultimately, formally get it QM evaluated. That's the goal for hopefully in the spring. But I think that's, it's a process, if you've never done this before, and even if, I've done it for a while, but it's different than it was a year ago, and the next year it might be something different, and it just kind of changes. It's never really, it's what I did last year is different than what I do now. And even in the summer, this is now something different. And then I've already nitpicked at a couple of things, and that'll change. So it's really, if you're going to teach online, you really have to be a kind of a curriculum designer, a deployer, someone who, you really have a grasp of how students learn, and really have a good way to design it. because I found that was key. You know, I can't find the syllabus, even though I had it in the course information folder. Oh, it makes sense to me, but it makes sense to anybody else. That's why that got moved out to the outside. You know, we tried to make things as simple as possible. As we were alluding to, I think as a university, we need to figure out how do we, how do we prepare students for online learning? Because I think some are getting into this and, oh, hey, this is great because I don't have to go to Jersey City. And, there's maybe some misconceptions, or maybe it's just a misunderstanding about, what is online learning, and I think that's a very, I think we have to do something that we formalize this, whether it's a school of education or as a university as a whole, so that if I come in and I take an online class, whoever I'm with, I get exactly what I have to do. And I think we also need to talk about attendance, because, I get asked, as a student participating in your class, how would you like me to define that? I could see the last time they logged into Blackboard, I could see their activity, but, how do I quantify when a student's been, attending? Does that mean they've been online for, a certain amount of time? Have they posted a certain number of things? I've got students who, I think I've already, in this semester, I've already got 2 students that are dealing with deaths in their family. So, it's all right. Then we work on it. You tell me that you get on when you can. That still means you're attending class, but how do we quantify when I get asked, report attendance? I mean, I'll look at when you signed on, and I don't have a good answer. Maybe somebody does, but I don't have a good answer for attendance. And then, if someone's not attending, well, what does that mean they're not attending? Have they been on, but they didn't do the work yet? Have they told me they're not doing the work yet? There's a lot of, what if, I think, and that's for me is challenging. When a student says, well, how am I, why am I not doing so well? And I say, well, how often do you sign on a Blackboard? I go on once a week. That's probably not cutting it, So I think those two, and then online collaboration, which we're there with Google Hangouts, but I'm only limited to 15 people, so that's still it's tough for me. I would love to find something where I can do what I'm doing now with at least 20, which everybody can get in at the same time. So that's in terms of, I think, university wise, that's I think what I see in the couple of years I've been doing this. It is nice that I don't have to drive the turnpike, but I think the biggest thing is when they say, my kids say, Dad, are you teaching in the basement tonight? Because they know when I'm done, I walk up the stairs and that's it. It's not now I've got to drive, 45 or 50 minutes from Jersey City. And it's nice being a parent to be able to, to see my kids more, because I will grade stuff and I'll get online at all wee hours of the day and night, as opposed to, it's Tuesday at 6:55 is when class starts. So I was leaving my house from 4:45 to come down, to get to Jersey City, to make sure I'm there on time, and then to go back. This to me makes sense. And it is, call it selfish, but at the same time, I thought I wouldn't like doing it online. I thought I would like that interaction of meeting with students every week, and I find that I actually enjoy this more, because it really keeps me on my toes. So. I've got, I certainly, discussion-wise, I'll just throw out my contact information if anybody's got any questions or concerns or thoughts or anything. But I'm going to, I'll let you see me again. But yeah, that's, that's what I figured out in the last year doing it online at St. Peter's, and then, the years prior. I think we're in a prime market to do it, but at the same time, I think if we're not aggressive in this market, we're potentially going to be hurting, because there's other places that are going to do it, and they're going to do it and attract the students that want to go online, and if we're not offering it, they're going someplace else.
Absolutely. Thanks, Al. What I'd like to do is open it up to Sister Elizabeth as well as the Jersey City crew to have any questions for you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Anyone? Questions? I know we have a wide range here of people who have taught online and who haven't yet. Some who've done some hybrids, some who haven't. And I mean, I'm going to just talk just for a second about Al and how far he's come from. You were fully face-to-face when you started, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I was doing I did this class as a hybrid in the summer, and I was doing like 2 days face-to-face and 1 online, and the feedback from the students were, that's not what I signed up for. Hybrid to me means I'm here for a day, a week, maybe, I just don't want to, I don't want to be here for that long. So then I had to, start to readjust. And the hybrid, I was doing it face to face in the semester, and then I went to hybrid. And I think I was only meeting them, maybe it was like once a month, once every 5 weeks, which was okay. And then I got to a point, I'm like, this is silly. Why am I coming down here 3 times to get out of the house? So it was like, this is dumb. I'm just, going online.
You told me, I just, Al told me he wanted the face to face, right? You wanted to.
Oh, I did. I did. I wanted the face to face because I'm like, I'm so used to that interaction. And I think a lot of, we've had a lot of good conversations in all the different classes that I've done when we've had face to face interaction. So the challenge for me was, all right, I'm going to bring this online. How do I keep some of that? And like the classroom management that I'm going to do tomorrow night is a topic that it's one of those I think has to be done in a synchronous kind of manner where you can banter back and forth and talk about different things. And it's not just a discussion board. So, we found a way to do both.
Anyone else have questions? Worries, fears?
I'll take them all. I left Nicole the copy of the slides. This will go up, like I said, it'll go up on YouTube once we're done. But I'm certainly willing and able and answer questions or at any time.
Yeah, just to, to talk about where Al is and everything. I think it's the perfect thing. Was what you said. I think kind of it's all changing. It's so different than when I first was teaching online, and it's going to be different in 3 months or a year. And I think we just have to try it and see what works and what doesn't work. And you know what works for Al and what works for Mike and what works for me may not work for all of you who are teaching. And that's what we're all here for. So I think that's great. And Al, you brought up some great points. The attendance thing and the online training for students are two things we talk about in the distance learning committee all the time. Yeah. So we'll pick your brain on that one. I'm with you with the attendance because I have it in my syllabus. I think they are supposed to log into Blackboard 4 days a week. But when it comes down to that, does that mean that they just click Blackboard and they're in for 1 minute? Is that okay? And literally, if they came back at me and that's in my syllabus and they were in for 1 minute, 4 days a week, so I get it. We need a little bit more, we need to figure out the actual what's behind it. And for me, it's kind of feeling how they are on the discussion board and all of that, but it's very holistic.
Nicole, I teach online for Colorado State University.
Yes.
And it's not about, and we also, when we started the New Jersey Virtual School, it's not about time, it's about quality.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for instance, on the university level, we have discussion boards that go on all week long, and the requirement is by Thursday evening you have to put your initial discussion on, and then by Sunday you have to have 2 more discussion on with your colleagues, and every week a critical thinking assignment is due. So, I mean, you're right, online learning, Rob, I think you pointed out well, it's a lot more work than teaching in front of a classroom because of the intense amount of work that you're doing all day long.
Yeah.
I had the nuns telling me they want me to give up Colorado State and just go with St. Peter's because they never see me when I'm at, in my room or my office working with Colorado State. So it's not so much the amount of minutes that they're on. I always tell the story when we first started the virtual school, we had one kid, it was a summer course. So we had one bright child go down to the beach and got on the school and then went swimming. Well, the problem is we had already put a safeguard in that if you didn't hit a key within the first 5 minutes, everything shut off. So this poor kid thinks he was logging time and he was logging nothing. But I think as we work through policies, we might want to move, it's not so much time, as I said, excuse me, it's quality of work. So I think that's just something we have to think about. And then the other good point you were talking about, as a university, we have to come to some kind of standards. I like that idea where students first have to take some type of a course or in-service on online before they actually start it. The model that we're using right now at Colorado State is every course has what they call an open house. So that the week before the course starts, every student has to get on, go through the entire course. That's why I like what Rob said about preparing the course a lot earlier than when the course is supposed to begin, because they're able to go in and really take a good look at what the course is about in terms of the actual course, and what are the elements of online learning that I need to know before I start. And if I have problems, I either get in touch with the professor, or I may think that online learning is not for me yet. So those are just two things I was thinking about as we're having discussion. And then one other thing, Rob had mentioned to me the possibility of maybe instituting Zoom on a university-wide. If you do that, all these wonderful things that you're doing, you're going to see a very powerful instrument for online learning, because it has the video, it has the slide capability. Again, it has the saving, you can save it and use it later on. But it's very robust. It's really a good program. So I hope, Rob, that we go through with that, because I think everybody will really be, it's a very good tool for us as professors to use.
Yeah, we're all doing the same thing. It sounds like, in the last hour, it's like we're all doing the same thing. Why can't we, put our heads together and come up with something formalized? Because it's only going to help, it's going to help the students, because, and I like that open house idea, because I think there would be a couple students, I've had one or two that have dropped already, that if they had that, they potentially would have said before the class even started, yeah, this is not for me.
Sister Elizabeth, I'm going to ask you, with that whole idea, so let's just say you have a student that's enrolled and they don't complete the open house. What happens?
You know what? You broke up a little bit. I think you asked if they don't complete the open house.
And what happens? That's always been our concern with students who come into your class. Let's say they're registered and they don't do the orientation. Are they just not allowed to continue, or do you know?
What happens is that, first of all, because it's an online university at Colorado State, you have an online registrar who's always watching everything.
Right.
So that's something you might want to consider for the future. There's going to have to be a watchdog really watching what's going on. However, this is what happens. The students are allowed to go in and take a look through the open house. And then if they're going to make the commitment to start the course, the first discussion board is called Introduction. When they click on Introduction, they actually introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about themselves, and then post it. Once that is posted, that's a commitment that I am now taking the course. So we give them time to go through the open house. We give them time to do that discussion to say, yes, I'm starting this course. And then like with any other college course, you have X amount of days to drop it, before you get charged or before it works against financial aid or whatever you're doing. So it's really a three-step process. First is open house, then the discussion, and then the 2 day, I guess it's 2 or 3 day drop.
Thanks. Okay, back to you, Al.
Okay. I like that idea. I think that's really, I especially when the hybrid's a little bit different, because they get, at least them face to face, but I've seen, I'm thinking about dropping now, and it's week 4, so you're not going to get pretty much anything back in terms of tuition. So you're kind of like, it's like, oh, I wish I would have known this a couple weeks ago. Why not? Why not say, okay, if we target 2 weeks before the semester starts, everything's up and ready. Now it's go in and look, and you decide for yourself if you want to take it or not. So that's not a bad idea. But once you're in it, that's it. You're done. There's you've had all its preview time. So once you're in it, that's it. Right.
One other thing that we have, and I think it'd be great if St. Peter's would work on it, and we certainly have a good group of people to do this. We also have an extensive student handbook. So everything is written out, from, attendance policy in terms of the discussion boards, the critical thinking assignments, to the grading policies, to the drop time for a course. If you need more time to finish the course, like we do now for our regular courses, the extension times. We talk about plagiarism. It is a very long, detailed student handbook, and there's also a faculty handbook too for online learning. if you'd like, I could connect with my coordinator over at Colorado State. I'm sure they'll allow us to take a look at the handbooks so that you have an idea. Maybe it's something you want to move toward in the future, just so that you're beginning to standardize things. Because, I mean, it sounds like we really want to go in this direction. And if we do, then I think eventually we have to have one playing field so that a student doesn't move from course to course and say, well, online learning was done this way in this course, but it's being done a different way in another course. Just something to think about for the future. If you want, I can get that hold of that for you.
I'm always interested to see what other people are doing.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
All right, so Al, any closing thoughts?
I'm tapped. I got nothing else.
We'd like to thank you.
I'm just bummed the videos didn't work, but
Okay,
yeah, no.
I'm gonna share them. I'm gonna share them with, I'll share with everybody afterwards. And we want to thank you, and we'll give you a nice round of applause.
Great job. Good
Nobody
job.
fell asleep, and we'd like to thank you, and we can't wait to hear more from you. I know you have another workshop coming up the same way in a couple weeks.
Okay,
Thanks. Bye, Al.
sounds good. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.